This is how you create a force dynamics effect in Cavalry. I'm Iskander and you're watching Mojif, the place where we talk about anything motion and design. This week I will be recreating a physics animation using fields and the force dynamics in Cavalry. This animation we're going to start off with importing a SVG file by copying all the elements in Illustrator and pasting it straight into Cavalry. Make sure we use separate layers and rename all the elements that we just imported. You don't have to, but I like to do it to keep organized. Next, I'm gonna create a color array to create a different color for each instance. Just connect it to the circle SVG and the fill color. And I'm gonna change the colors to a green, a yellow, a purple, and a darker green. And I'm gonna delete the last one. Next, select the smiley folder and press Command G to create a group within a group and call it big. Duplicate it again by pressing Command D and call it small. And now I'm going to change the smiley of the first one to 0.5, so half the size. And I'm going to change the size of the small one to 0.4. This way we get a little bit more variation in the instances. Then I'm going to select both and Alt-click on the duplicator. And I'm gonna also change the settings of the canvas. I'm gonna make it a square and I'm gonna change the frame rate to 60 and I'm gonna change the color to black. Now we're gonna set the distribution to point and set the count to 0. Enable the keyframes, go to frame 60 and change the count to 30. Next, I'm gonna create an arrow and change the parameters. Change the body length to -200, and the body width to 0, the end length to 160, the arrow to 200, and the arrow to -200. Change the color to a off-white and add a deformer, a bevel deformer, to round up the edges. In the next step we're going to animate the arrow. Select the arrow and move the arrow to the bottom right corner. Change the rotation to -45 degrees. Enable keyframes for rotation and position. Go forward in time and move the arrow up to the left top corner. Next, move the rotation keyframe and subtract 180 from the rotation. That will create -225. And I'm just gonna readjust the position just a little bit. Then I'm gonna add 2 keyframes at the end of the rotation for the position and copy the first 2 keyframes from the position. Then I want to add some easing to it. So then I go to the graph editor and I will go to interpolation and I will go to Bezier and I will increase the easing curves by holding Shift. And now we have this looping animation of going up and down. Now we're finally here. Now we Alt-click on the force dynamics while selecting the duplicator. And now all the instances come out and fall down. That's because we have gravity set to -10 and let's set it to 0. And now all the elements will be pushed apart from each other. Now we go to bodies and drag in the arrow to be part of the simulation. And now the arrow will push away all the smiley faces. Let's change some settings by going to the gear icon and change the friction to 1, the bounce to 1, the density to 2 and the gravity scale to 5. Position damping to 1 and rotation damping to 1. And make sure the body type is kinetic hybrid. Let's go to the duplicator and change the friction also to 1, the bounce to 1, the density to 2 and the gravity scale to 5. And make sure the body type is dynamic. And set the rotation damping to 1 and the position damping to 1. Last but not least, let's add a field to the force dynamic. Let's go to fields and add a attractor field. This will force all the instances of the smiley faces to go to the attractor field. So now we have created this really cool dynamic animation. If you like to download the source files or help out this channel, check out the link below. And as always, see you next week.